So the race is very shortly going to get away. The first of 3 races for the MR2s this weekend, because the cars have had to be split up into groups because of the such big grids, like the Locals Championship has been. Anyway, the race is away. Let's concentrate on the race for now. Paul Hinton versus George Robinson off the front row. George Robinson makes the better start. He's eking ahead of the pole man Paul Hinton. Michael Wells there, who started 4th. He's gone 3rd ahead of Ben Rowe, side by side for the leader. Hinton versus Robinson as they head into Charlie's, and in front there goes George Robinson. So he leads to Paul Hinton. The rest of the pack head through Charlie's for the first time then of asking. They all head around. Anyway, here's Stuart Nicholls, and he had a big moment through Charlie's for the first time. He held it all together. So on board with Stuart Nicholls now then, as he heads down towards Park Corner. He's down the Park Straight at the moment. He's battling away here with Mark Snelling as they head into Parkland, and Nicholls runs out wide, trying to go round the outside through Parkland, now out to the very long crisp curve. It just keeps going round and round before they get to the gooseneck. Anyway, Snelling in front of Nicholls here as they get onto the brakes. Nicholls the second of the Mark III Roses, because up front is Jim Davies. And here come the leaders then, down towards Mountain, absolutely together, and George Robinson and Paul Hinton. We've got Wells there in front, 4th is Bruck. The rest of Jim Davies, a poor start. He started on row 4, but he's much further back in the order than that. The rest of the field make their way down towards Mount Chicane. Instead of course having the full grid now, because it's been split into groups. 22 cars made to start, but into Hall Bend then for Matt Wallis. He's behind Jim Davies as they break down for the hairpin now then. Jim Davies, a newcomer to race, in the car in front of him runs out of road, and that's allowed Davies up on the inside there to gain a position. The car that went out wide was Stephen Wells. Right across the line, Robinson starting to gap Paul Hinton now, who's got Michael Wells right behind him as they turn into Coppice for the second time then. Some of the cars slide through Coppice there, he has gone very wide to the white line there. Stuart Nicholls still trying to find a way past the guy in front of him, Mark Snelling. As they head through, Snelling managed to break away there from Nicholls, where he made a slight mistake on the exit of Charlie's. So now they head through the corner. And all wide again from Nicholls, kicking up a bit of dirt. Behind him is the car, the number 23 car, who is Timothy Heron. So onto the brakes now for Park Corner. If you want to say C. Just in front of Stephen Wells now, so Wallis has got past Wells as well. Right, down towards the gooseneck we go then. Onto the brakes, Nicholls right underneath Snelling now. For the tighter line there, but couldn't find a way through, no gap. Right, Robinson through again, still leading the way. Ben Rowe coming under pressure from Matt Palmer. Matt Palmer won the non-championship race a few weeks ago at Castle Combe, live on Motors TV. Anyway, into Mountain for Stuart Nicholls. He's still trying to find a way past Mark Snelling as they go over the top, back down the hill, down towards Hall Bend, the most committed part of Cadwell Park, probably the most committed part of any race circuit. Very hard to get it right. If you do get it right, you gain a lot of time very quickly. Leaders then down straight. It's still Robinson ahead of Hinton, then Wells, Rowe under lots of pressure on Matt Palmer. That's 4th and 5th. We'll see them when they come into Coppice, and it's still Rowe, but Matt Palmer all sideways behind him, really attacking now for 4th position as they exit our view out of the first part of Charlie's. There's Stuart Nicholls trying to just wait up on the inside, can't get it done though, so Snelling continues there in, I think it's something like 12th position. 13 minutes plus 1 lap this race, so it gets on something on the lines of 9 laps after this race, 8 or 9 laps I reckon. Anyway, into Park Corner, Snelling still ahead of Nicholls, and Heron behind as well, and Heron under lots of pressure into Chris Curve there. He was being attacked by John Bornber. Through gooseneck we go. Down towards Maxford, running out of road ever so briefly. There was Snelling, and Nicholls sees an opportunity, can't find a gap though. There's Connor Hamilton. He's under lots of pressure from Jim Davies, recovering from his poor start. There's Snelling ahead of Nicholls and Heron. Not far behind them, the fourth car in this train is John Fulber, like I say, into Hall Bends again. Not really an overtaking opportunity, but this is somewhere, it's more saying qualifying in these sprint races, where you do not want to find any traffic because it's very hard to overtake. Robinson and Hinton still together, but it's Ben Rowe out of fourth. He's spun out of barn, so he's going to fall right down the pack now. Now they've got this 4-car scrap coming past him. He's losing hands over feet. Paul Grimmett having a great battle with Jim Davies, and Grimmett's falling behind Davies. Behind Hamilton, I should say, through Hall Bends. Right, so through again, Stuart Nicholls can't find a way past Mark Snelling as it is. Somebody kicks up a corner marker, which goes flying. Now round the outside, trying to get the cut back is Stuart Nicholls, but he gets the car very sideways through Charlie's, and again on the exit, they're oiled down because it's sliding all over the place. Now bumpy ride across the grass. He's going to lose a few more places. On board with Matt Wallis is sideways under braking. Paul Grimmett runs all over the place. He's still sliding as he comes out the corner. Now I wonder if Paul Grimmett's dropping some sort of liquid because he's sliding everywhere. So I wonder if he's dropping liquid onto his rear tyres, and everybody else seems to be sliding everywhere. Look all the... Just about everyone just got stayed on the circuit and out of the barriers. Through again. Cars starting to split up if there is, and look at this grappling. The same car splitting up. Not here. It's Stuart Nicholls again, fights back up on the inside line, and he gets there back ahead of John Fawn, but over the top of the hill they come. So now Stuart Nicholls a bit further back in this scrap. Now they have caught somebody up. Try and work out who that is. It is the 32 car of Lloyd Clarkson who's at the front of this scrap. So it's Clarkson, head of Snelling and Heron, Nicholls and Thornbuck. So here they come. Clarkson just breaking away, and now Heron trying to find a way past Snelling as they go down into Coppice then. So I think something like the 5th lap now we're on. The queue of 5 cars that head into Charlie's. Clarkson just edging away. So into second part of Charlie's, and then onto the Park Straight we go, on board with Stuart Nicholls, who will fall down the hill and then climb back up it again. It's called the Park Straight, but as you can see here, it's not completely straight. And round the outside of Heron comes Nicholls. He got that one done extraordinarily late on the brake there from Nicholls. Then he runs out onto the curb. Now we look to the right hand side, we can just see the front of Heron's car. Nicholls is running onto the grass there, and that allows Heron to come back through as they head into the gooseneck. You can see Clark starting to get away sideways through the second part of the gooseneck there for Nicholls. He dives up on the inside now. Can he get past? Contact slightly, I think, there between Heron and Nicholls. Hamilton has got Davies all over him as they head down into the mountain bottom. Then we wait to see what's happened in the scrap where you keep an eye on. Here they come. You can see that Clarkson just starting to get away in. We're back on board with Stuart Nicholls. Then he gets the car all sideways. It's heading towards the tyre wall, and he hit the tyre wall there. And he's going to reverse it back out. Marshall's coming to assistance, but Stuart Nicholls doesn't want any of that assistance. He's going to drive off. Get it. The grass still a bit damp here. As I'm sure you're aware, we've had a very wet May here in the UK. Stuart Nicholls able to rejoin Connor Hamilton just ahead of Jim Davies. Now it looks like the two of them got ahead of Paul Hudson through Hall Bends. So they've gained a position. Ben Rowe ahead of Matt Wallis, who are trying to close them in. Matt Wallis has had quite a good race coming through the pack. He started relatively way down the order. Now, after Nicholls off, that scrap we've been keeping an eye on isn't so much a scrap, we've got a pair of them racing, but that is all. Leaders back through, down towards Mountain Bottom. Still Robinson ahead of Henson, and then Matt Palmer has got himself up into third, ahead of Michael Wells, who's down to fourth. Fifth is now Jim Davies, he's got ahead of Connor Hambleton. Then he's got Paul Hudson right behind him. Ben Rowe's closing them in, late on the brakes for Ben Rowe. Then in ninth position is Matt Wallis, again he's closing them in. Running about a second quicker than Connor Hambleton and his scrap. They're out of bar, now they come. We've got Davies now already gapping Hambleton, but now look at it, Ben Rowe almost onto the back of him and Hudson. Hambleton's done a 49.0, Hudson's done a 48.7 as their best laps, where Ben Rowe's on a 1:47.2 and Matt Wallis a 1:47.9, so they're both a second quicker at least than the cars that they are chasing. So that's certainly going to be an interesting scrap to watch to the end of the race. Not long to go in it now, about 3 minutes plus the lap to go. Something on those lines. There comes George Robinson still leading. He's got a nice gap to Paul Henson, something like 2.5 seconds between them. Third, Matt Palmer. Robinson's best lap of 46.32, 1 minute 46.32 of course, and Paul Henson a 1:46.34, 200 a second between them both. Matt Palmer in third, a 1:47.15. Hambleton still just ahead of Hudson, looking either side. Ben Rowe almost with them now. The three cars head almost as one into Mountain. Paul Grimmett has retired from the race. I wonder if it was him dropping the fluid onto the circuit. Jim Davies has set the fastest lap in Class C, a 1:47.76. That compares to Stuart Nicholls 1 minute 50.79. So 3 seconds Davies is quicker. He's improving every time he goes out on circuit. That lap time alone is a second quicker than his qualifying lap. So Hambleton just ahead of Hudson. Hudson trying to find a way through. Ben Rowe there as well. Then Matt Wallis in 9th position behind the 3-car scrap for 6th. And further back is not so evident really. Mark Snell in there just starting to get away now from John Thornbutt. Timothy Heron, I think, managed to find a way past him. On board with Matt Wallis then, and look, Ben Rowe's gone past Hudson, he's going to try and go past the gooseneck past Connor Hambleton, he's got that one done, a great move there from Rowe, and now looking on the inside of Hudson is Wallis, as we head into Mansfield. Hudson runs very wide there, and now here goes Wallis, he's urged his way up on the inside as they now break down for Mountain, and he's got that one done, has he? Yes! Now Connor Hambleton's his next target as they head up over the hill now, down towards Hall Bends. Great battle between these 4 cars. Rowe already getting away. Now down towards Hairpin, down the gear. Every time right hander, Connor Hambleton gets the car all out of shape in the middle of the corner. That means Wallis is right behind the barn. Nothing separated the 2 cars. Now they get their power on. Better run out the corner for Wallis. They're seeing the last lap board. He's drawing up alongside now. The 2 cars are side by side across the line. Can Wallis go round the outside? Yes, he's in front of him. Hambleton has to tuck underneath into Coffin. So 2 places gaining. Quite quick succession for Matthew Wallis. That's 7th position for him now. Started from something like 16th on the grid. So that has been quite an incredible 15 minutes or so for Matthew Wallis to climb up the order. It's a final lap, like I mentioned, we're on now, and it looks like George Robinson is going to take a victory here. There he is, heading on his way to victory. And Paul Hinson looks like he's going to take second. He'll be out in the third race of the weekend, but George Robinson will be out in the second. Robinson will be against the fastest person in qualifying, Guy Hefford. Hinson will have to wait till the third race of the weekend to go against Hefford. Matt Palmer's going to take third position. Fourth, Michael Wells. Wallis just starting to get Hambleton now in the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th. And the checkered flag is about to be flown because George Robinson, arm out the window, he takes the victory. Second position goes to Paul Hinson. So George Robinson wins. Second to Paul Hinson. Third to Matt Palmer. Good podium result for him once again this year. Nice and consistent Palmer's been. Michael Wells in fourth. Had a great drive from Jim Davies. He's going to take fifth. He in the end was only less than 4 seconds down on Michael Wells. Great drive from him, and he really escaped from this battle. 6th to Ben Rowe, 7th to Matthew Wallis, 8th to Connor Hambleton, 9th to Paul Hudson. And we get official classification of those results here then. Robinson winning by 2 seconds in the end to Paul Hinson. To round out the top 10, it was Stephen Wells, 42 seconds behind the race winner.